Hello, everyone, and good afternoon to our welcome to our live even this evening. Hope everyone's well. Sorry, that was just a bit of a kind of strange segue into something there. Not sure exactly what it was. Anyway, really nice to have you all with us this evening. And if you're joining the recording, then welcome also. So today we're going to continue on with our 30 days and 30 Microsoft 365 tips. And this evening, we're going to look at reclaiming some of your time by using a part of Microsoft 365, which is Power Automate. Now, Power Automate is absolutely awesome. It can help us to automate, especially repetitive flows that we have in terms of data, in terms of processes going on within our organization or even within our lives. So stick with us. We're going to run through a kind of demo. We're going to show you what Power Automate is to begin with. Then we're going to go through a very quick demo. We're going to automate a process to take in information from a Microsoft form, and then we're going to send that over to a Microsoft SharePoint list, and we're also going to email someone to let them know that the data has arrived. Okay, great. So without further ado, I shall go into the demo here. So let me share my screen with you. Okay, here we go. There we go. So here is our Microsoft 365 environment. So I'm going to just close down some of these tabs that I have here and hope that I can get back to them afterwards. So Power Automate, when we come to our portal for Office 365, we're looking for this icon here. So this is the Power Automate icon. So we'll click on this. So this will open up Power Automate in a new tab for me. I'm in here as my testing user. So this is the homepage for Power Automate, and you can see already that there are some tasks appear at the top. So choose a task to quickly automate, and they talk about pre-built templates. So as with a lot of things within Microsoft 365, there are templates that you can use. People have thought about these scenarios beforehand, and potentially there is a template for most things that you can really think about. And the good thing, again, with these templates, as we talked about with the Microsoft SharePoint lists, is that these templates are completely customizable as well. So you can use one that's close to what you need, and then you can add in what you need, and you can take away what you don't need. Okay, so again, underneath here as well, you can see that there's learning paths that are on this page so that it's all in the same place. So if I come in here and I feel like I need to learn some more before I can use Power Automate, or I feel like I want to do a learning path to go through a specific thing, then I can look at these learning paths down here. Okay, so let's get into the demo. I know that's what you all want to see. So we're going to use a template because we haven't got much time. So let's use a template here. So this will open up a list of potential templates. Now you can see here that there's also categories of these templates appear at the top of the screen. Let's just zoom in a bit there. So up here at the top, we have some categories. So we can kind of, but we can also, just in this search box here, we can type in maybe where we want to start. So what we're going to do is we're going to type in forms here because we want to start with a Microsoft form. So here's one that I've chosen earlier for this demo. So our form processing is going to be to email and to SharePoint. So we want an email notification, and we also want the data to go into a SharePoint list. So I'm going to choose this template. Okay, it's then going to start creating the flow for me, and it's going to try and connect the accounts that I'm logged in as currently. Now we can switch accounts here, and we can connect using a different account. For example, potentially we may want to have one account on one side, or we may want to have a different account to connect to another service. So just bear that in mind here. So we'll continue there because this is what we want to use. Okay, now this is building the flow for us. Okay, so this is what flow looks like. So it is a flow diagram type scenario. So it becomes quite clear in terms of how the data is traveling through this flow. hopefully. So you can see that the template has already given us some of the things that we want to think about. So how do we start this flow? Okay, so right up here at the top, when a new response is submitted within a form, and it's asking us to pick a form. Now, I'm going to just show you here. So I'm going to go back to my Office 365 portal, and I'm going to go into Microsoft Forms. So, okay, in true Blue Peter style, I have created a form here called Flow Demo, which, as you'll see, is an absolutely fantastic form. So, so here's the form. It's got one question on there, and we've got 3 responses here because I have tried to check that this is working beforehand. So I'm going to just click on share there, and I'm going to basically copy the URL of this form, and I'm just going to open up a new tab. I'm going to copy that form address, and then I have a form that I can submit. So this is our form. This is what we'll be submitting. So back into our Power Automate tab. So when a new response is submitted, so that's what we said, when a new response is submitted, we're going to pick a form. And the name of that form that I'd created earlier was Flow Demo. So we're creating a flow within Power Automate. So the form is Flow Demo. Now the template has already kind of chosen a couple of things for us. So with the form, we're going to apply to each of the responses. So we're going to get a list of the responses within that form. So it's going to go through each of the different fields in the form and allow us to bring all of those back into this flow so that we can use that. So it's going to apply to each of the responses within that form. So within this Flow Demo form. So if we had more than one field, it would bring back a list of kind of 10 fields, and it would go through each one of those fields so that we can get at that data, basically. So the list of responses, that's already been put in for us by this template, and it's from the previous step. So it's the list of responses when this form is submitted. So we're going to get those response details, and we're going to, again, choose from the Flow Demo. And then already you can see that the next part of the flow is already created for us, but we need to change something here. So SharePoint, create an item, but this send email connector here, I checked it out earlier. There's something not quite right with it. So I've got an alternative that we can use. So this, as I mentioned, this is a part of the template, but we can change the template. We can use what's good and we can change what's not so good. So I'm just going to delete this email item there. And what I'm going to do now is, in the same place, I'm going to insert a new step and add an action. Then I'm going to look for email here. And I'm going to choose send an email through Office 365 Outlook. So I can connect to my Office 365 Outlook using Flow, using Power Automate, and in that way I can send an email also. So just kind of the template there, the mail action that was in there was not quite working when I tested, so I prefer to use this one here, so I can connect to my Office 365 Microsoft 365 account and send using my email address. So I'm going to then, so now it's asking me who's this going to. So I'm going to just set a specific person. So I'm going to send it actually to myself as this training user. And I'm going to just say Flow Demo Monday. And within the body of the email, we're going to click in there. And now what Power Automate does is it brings up this box here and allows us to actually add dynamic content. So the dynamic content in this instance is coming from our form. So if we have a look at the form, I've got a question here that says, what's your name? Well, here is that form question. So because we've told it that we want to look for the information within this form, I can now dynamically choose whatever is coming in from that form. So I'm going to click this here. So that says, what's my name? And that should put that in the body of the email. Now, the next part, like I said, was a SharePoint list. We want to add this item also into a SharePoint list. So I'm going to click on create the item there for the SharePoint list. And when I click on the down arrow or click on the site address, it will actually give me access to all of the SharePoint sites that I currently have access to. And we worked with this one a few days ago. So I'm going to use this live test SharePoint site here. And here's one I prepared earlier. So we've got a list here. So a data list inside SharePoint, which is called Flow Demo List. So here's Flow Demo List. And I'll just zoom in there for you. And it actually gives us these automatically. So once it's picked up the site, then it picks up the lists within that site. So Flow Demo List. Okay, now once I choose that, so let me just show you also. So if we go into SharePoint, so here is our live test site. And on the left-hand side here is our Flow Demo List. Just taking a while to load there. Here we go. So this is our Flow Demo List. So as you can see, we've got two columns here. So one column is called title. The other column is called name. So if we go back to Power Automate here, you can see these two columns have been automatically created or automatically set up within the flow for us, because it knows that we're looking at this list and it knows that we have two items that we can put data into. So for the title, I am just going to add in item number and maybe the submission time, so that we're doing something unique for that first column. And then on the name, well, what we're going to do is we're going to look at our dynamic data and we're going to say, I want the name that's entered into the form. So here's the name. There we go. So we have what's your name coming back in an email, and we have what's your name coming back into that SharePoint list. Okay, so we save that. There we go. So our flow is ready. So let's submit this form. Okay, there we go. Right, so now I'm going to go back to my Power Automate here. I have a feeling this might have run a demo and another one as well. So we've got one run here that has succeeded. So you can always see what's been going on with your flows. So you can see whether they've succeeded or not. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go into my list here. And there we go. So I told you it would trigger twice because I also have another one that I created earlier, which is also running. So that's why this has been created twice. But you can see that this was the item that we added in here. So item number and then the date and time. And then just to have a look at the last bit here, which is the email that was meant to come through. And here we go. Here we have our email. There we go. Here we have the email that came through from the flow that we just created. So there we have it. Power Automate. Use it to reclaim your time. If you've got tasks that need automating, you can move data around. You can be notified of things. You can make sure that you are kind of moving data around as one thing is updated, as one thing is deleted. You can make sure that you're notified of those things. So it really does help in terms of kind of, taking on those monotonous, mundane tasks for you. Okay, great. There we go. So we'll see you again for tomorrow's session. And thanks very much for joining us this evening. Okay, bye.